Good evening and welcome to Wildcat Stadium. It's homecoming night here in Paris, where the Paris Wildcats get ready to take on the Whitehouse Wildcats. And speaking of which, congratulations, Chris Garcia, who was the homecoming king, and he has been the king of this Paris Wildcat defense as he leads what seems like the world in tackles, 47 tackles on the season for Chris Garcia coming into week 4. So that is a tremendous number for him. For the Paris Wildcats, overall, they are 2-1 on the season, a victory on opening night against Sanger. They fell on the road in Texarkana against Pleasant Grove and then picked up a victory against Van Alstyne last week, where the offense really got going, racking up over 600 yards. 52-24 is how that game went. And then they take on Whitehouse tonight. Comes in with a 1-2 record. Whitehouse opened up the season against Woodrow Wilson with a big win, 47-15. And then they took on some East Texas powerhouses in Kilgore, falling 49-14, and then Tyler Chapel Hill, 48-7. So that's how Whitehouse got to their 1-2 mark. I'm Stephen Johnston. We've got Evan Brazil in the broadcast booth with us here tonight. And Evan, obviously, we don't know just too terribly much about Whitehouse, but we're starting to learn quite a bit about these Paris Wildcats.
Absolutely, and we could see the Wildcats start to get on a roll here. I mean, that offense has showed a high-powered attack with the quarterback Tyler Heath. I mean, he is a guy who just really knows how to dissect a secondary sometimes. And, with the kind of weapons at his disposal, we could see the Paris Wildcats get rolling here.
And here they come out of the inflatable on homecoming night. And, Whitehouse, a 5A team, a team that typically is in the playoffs out of Class 5A. And, sometimes you kind of ask, man, homecoming night, usually you want that sure thing, that for certain win. Last year, they go to Whitehouse, don't play their best game. Coach Hohenberger has been very open about that. And so people will ask, why would you schedule Whitehouse for homecoming? And the answer simply is because Coach Hohenberger simply wants a test every single week before his team goes into the gauntlet, which may end up being one of the best districts, not just this season, but in the history of Texas high school football.
Oh, absolutely. And what you'll see, homecoming or not, he wants this team to be well-tested and battle-proven heading into district play.
And so as Coach Hohenberger on the sideline talking with the officials, and right now it's friendly. It's always friendly before the game. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you and promise you Coach Hohenberger will be animated on the other side of that, as he always is. Just a really entertaining coach, very knowledgeable, very passionate is Coach Hohenberger. And, of course, we will have our captains, which it looks like it's going to be Davion Harrison along with Chris Garcia and Tyler Heath. And then you kind of got to find out and configure around, do they do the anthem before the toss or after the toss? That's something that's agreed upon by the coaches and the officials. Joining them in that captain's line looks like Boots Harper stepping in there as well. I see Keyshawn Roberts, Cam Floyd, and this was really the game last year where Cam Floyd had a little bit of a breakout game. Not a guy who is physically imposing by any stretch. And, whenever I talked to Coach Hohenberger a season ago, he was like, man, we didn't play well, but how about Cam Floyd, man? He was all over the field a little bit. And so a young man who has made the most of his opportunities, and you love seeing that. And speaking of opportunities, this is a golden one for the Paris Wildcats as the captains meet on the field. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our presenting sponsors of Paris Gameday, Texas Furniture and Appliance and Red River Credit Union. Without those guys, we simply would not exist and would not be able to bring you coverage of Paris Wildcat football here at Wildcat Stadium. And so we appreciate you guys so very much. And with that said, if you're tuned in on Facebook, be sure to give the game a share. Let the community know where they can watch Paris Wildcat football here tonight. And in the meantime, they are discussing the ceremonial coin toss, and we'll get the result of that. And Evan will break down how that goes. It looks like Paris won the toss and elected to receive.
His portrait will be displayed on the Paris High School Wall of Honor as an inspiration for future Wildcats.
So Paris will take the football first. In the meantime, we are going to take a second for our nation's anthem, and then we'll kick this thing off between the Paris Wildcats and the Whitehouse Wildcats visiting from the Tyler area.
Thank you.
All right, Evan. So we mentioned how this Paris Wildcat offense is off to a hot start, and that certainly plays a part in electing to receive this opening kick.
Oh, absolutely. If you can get your quarterback rolling early in this game, it could be lights out before Whitehouse can even blink here. Obviously, you mentioned, they don't think they played their best game last year, but punching up in terms of conference here, I mean, this is an opportunity to win against, to get a big upset here, really.
And even though, looking at, this score versus that score, it's never going to tell the story. But whenever you have a Kilgore out of Class 4A Division I, a team that went to the state championship last year and ultimately, got the same result that everybody else got, which was a throttling against Salina. But nonetheless, you kind of want to play this game, and you can kind of look at it and say, okay, hopefully, tonight the Paris Wildcats, we won by 20, and Kilgore won by this much. We feel like we're playing pretty well. So for the Paris Wildcats, we are underway. And this one's going to be returned from around the 20 and coming east and west and finally getting around to the edge and taken down around the 8. Looks like Marquise Shelton. So Paris will start around the 30-yard line. And he nearly was able to create some space around the end, but that's also, running about 40 yards to pick up about 7. Shelton's going to line up at the top of your screen. In a 4 wide receiver set, Baugh will be the running back to the right of Heath. They're going to hand it to Baugh out of the gate, sidesteps a tackler, and he's got about 8 or 9 yards on first down.
And that sets up just a golden opportunity for them. I mean, you really couldn't have come out and started it any better than that. It's 2nd and 1 in midfield. Here's what you want to do, right? You want to get your quarterback hot early in this game. Take a big shot right here. Just launch it down the field See if you can't get something. See if you can't get something going.
They've got Shelton at the bottom of the screen now, looking, pumps. Tyler Heath might take off and pick up the first down with his legs. He does, and then steps out around midfield. And that's the exact way you want to start a game. Okay, you didn't get any guys open. You made your reads, went through your progressions. It wasn't there. Your quarterback stepped up, and you still pick up that first down.
Absolutely. And you could see the secondary kind of frozen there. See if they don't pick up on it as he continues to move around the pocket in this game.
Keyshawn Roberts in the slot at the bottom of your screen. Here's a snap, throws over to him, gets a block on the outside, makes a man miss, and then kind of spins back into him and eventually is taken down. But that's going to be another Paris Wildcat first down on a gain of about 14 from Keyshawn Roberts.
You've got to like what you see here. I mean, if you can roll right down the field, have an efficient offense, pick up 9, 10, 11 yards per play, that's exactly the kind of offense you want to be in.
Jeremiah Humphrey, the single receiver to the right, split backfield. Here's the snap. They hand it to Roberts, trying to get to the edge, gets a block, and yeah, another first down for the Paris Wildcats. And not only that, but running behind the freshman left tackle, Jaquavis Allen.
We'll see if he can get settled into this game. You know, you have your right-handed quarterback, Tyler Heath. Left tackle is going to be the most important position on that offensive line. So with a freshman in at left tackle, he did have a good outing last week, especially for his freshman status. So we'll see how he does against 5A Whitehouse.
Now, this is interesting because they have 2nd and 1 on the field. They have 1st and 10 on the scoreboard as they hand it off to – no, they pull it and throw it out to Record. And Record will be taken down after picking up the first down. So that's interesting because they are signaling first down. They had first down on the scoreboard.
Absolutely, and we know the sticks on the field have preference over the scoreboard, but a little confusing situation there. Obviously, that's a very different down and distance, 2nd and short versus 1st and 10.
So coming out 4 wide once again, Record in the slot at the top of your screen. Heath with ball to his right, takes a snap, handoff ball, and he'll pick up some good yardage on first down, about half of what's needed. This is the first drive of the ball game. Paris with their first offensive series. First quarter tonight brought to you by First Federal Community Bank. We thank them for being a part of Paris Game Day. Now in the red zone for the Paris Wildcats, and they have marched down the field getting chunks. Heath takes the snap. They'll go ball one more time, and he's got the first down and more inside the 10. Sets up 1st and goal.
And that was blocked incredibly well on that interior offensive line. Obviously, Paris with a little bit of a size deficit versus Whitehouse there, but they're able to move the guys right out of the gap, and that's a big pickup.
And they're going to go ball one more time. Ball getting down towards the goal line, and it looks like they will finally take him down at the 1.
See Paris in the hurry up. That's exactly what you want to do. If the defense is reeling, doesn't have answers, you want to speed things up here.
Not only that, but you catch him out of position, and ball simply strolls into the end zone for a Paris Wildcat touchdown, and you could not have asked for a better start to the night. The running game was efficient, the passing game was efficient, and the Paris Wildcats are on the board 6-0.
Absolutely. And the thing about in high school, you know, you're running that hurry up. You have a reasonable amount of times to get your subs on if you're the defense. So you're kind of wondering what's happening on Whitehouse's side there, not going heavier in that goal line situation. But nonetheless, Wildcats get the opening drive touchdown.
Extra point brought to you by Lone Star Collision Center is up and good. 7-0. Paris Wildcats here on homecoming night here on Game Day.
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks, I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you gonna clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you gonna clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
And back here on game day as the Paris Wildcats take the ball, go 70 yards, and did so with, the perfect amount of efficiency. Just stayed ahead of the chains, completed every pass. Every run was 5, 8, 12 yards. And so for Paris, there is simply not a better way you could start this ball game.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Mitchell to kick this one away, the left-footed sophomore. As Whitehouse awaits their first offensive possession, kicks it near the sideline and just a little bit too far. Flags will come out, and we'll see if Whitehouse elects to take the ball in the 5 yards or a re-kick.
You got to think about what we know about Whitehouse here. I mean, I'm sure these guys have been watching Huddle all week, but we know they've got some weapons on offense. They've got some guys with a lot of speed who can maybe get you some big plays here, and that's just what you don't want if you're Paris. You don't want to let them come right back out and get a big chunk play or two and answer right back. You want to keep the momentum in this game, so don't give up anything over the top here. You're going to want to see them play a little bit soft in terms of coverage.
And one thing I noticed is, Coach Hornberger, he wants players fresh for the district. And so the leading receiver for Paris actually didn't take any snaps as they bring down the ball carrier right at the line of scrimmage, maybe even behind it. It'll be they'll mark it back at the line of scrimmage for 2nd and 10. But, yeah, Red Finch, who is the leading receiver, 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, didn't play an offensive snap because he's starting on defense. As Whitehouse brings a man in motion. Here's the snap. And pulled down after a gain of about 3 or 4.
One thing we've seen from Paris throughout this entire season so far, we saw it on the play before last. They just do an excellent job of staying home and staying in their gaps on running downs.
They like to line up about 4 to 5 on the line and just go man for man, and then their linebacker, Chris Garcia, he's the guy who gets to roam, shoot the gaps, bring the man down. And this is a very opportunistic point for Paris early in this ball game, having Whitehouse at 3rd and 6.
How big would a stop right here be?
Here's the snap, fakes handoff to nobody, and then throws deep. There's 2 Paris Wildcats there, and it's broken up. And that'll bring up 4th and 6 for Whitehouse, and they'll send the punt unit on.
And I have to say, that's my favorite genre of quarterback fakes, the one where maybe that wasn't in the call or the running back misunderstood, and it's a fake to nobody. What a way to come out on defense if you're the Paris Wildcats. Your offense comes out, marches right down the field, chunk play after chunk play, and then you go and get a 3 and out on defense. You really couldn't be happier with the start of this game.
And it looks like we have a timeout. Paris. Wildcats take a timeout. We'll take one with them. Paris up 7-0, looking to get the ball back. You're watching Paris Game Day.
We're here at the biggest game of the year for the kickoff, and I say these local guys have no competition, John.
No doubt, Stephen. Why sweat in the press box?
When you can sit like a king.
And we got the best seats in the house right here, baby.
Where every seat is the best seat.
Oh, yeah. Texas Furniture and Appliance. Local since 1927.
These players are definitely in their comfort zone.
You say something?
And back on game day, it'll be Keyshawn Roberts along with Jacabrian Record back deep to receive the punt from Whitehouse. There's the snap. It's an end-over-end punt away. That'll take a high bounce, and Record thought about it, and then it falls and hits him. Record didn't get away from the ball, and as a result, I think Whitehouse is going to have this one. Yeah. They haven't made a call, though.
Yep, they have not made a signal.
Now, I do see the 2 starting corners walking back out. And I know exactly what Jacabrian Record was thinking. You know, you get the high bounce, you can run under it, but he kind of mistimed the bounce versus the defender closing in, and it ends up being a massive play for Whitehouse, setting them up just outside the red zone.
I mean, as a returner, you know, we see this a lot from younger guys competing for a football they really don't need to. I mean, him going for that maybe would have saved him 5 yards if he had ended up with it, as we see Paris's defense on the field.
Yeah, and you came out playing so well, and unfortunately, you had a lot of momentum going, and it has evaporated with that.
I mean, you got to be so smart as a returner. You know, the way that ball is going to bounce is going to be so unpredictable. So just a tough break for the Wildcats.
Oh, that'll get the momentum back. Can't bring down the quarterback. He's going to have to throw it away. But just a clear shot coming from Jeremiah Robinson. 2nd and 10 coming up. But, man, Robinson had him dead to rights.
Just an incredible move to get the pressure off the edge there, but kind of leads to an even more incredible broken sack right there.
So 2nd and 10. Adams is going to step up and pick up about half of what's needed. So very reminiscent of that first drive from Whitehouse. Get 0 on the first play, get about half of it on the next play, and it'll come down to 3rd down. They got a bunch trip set at the bottom of your screen. Single receiver to the right. Fake the handoff. There was actually someone there for that handoff, but this one will fall incomplete. And it'll set up 4th and 5.
See if they keep the offense out here. We saw Tornes hitting field goals from this range in pregame warmups, but looks like they have every intention of going for this one.
And it looks like just from the body language of the offensive line and the quarterback, that should have been a screen. There was just no one there. And now we might have Whitehouse taking a timeout. And it looks like we do. 4th down coming up. Timeouts here in the first half. Brought to you by David's Meat Market. Paris leading 7-0 here on Game Day.
Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
Whitehouse facing 4th down here on Paris Game Day, and this would be a huge stand for the Paris Wildcats. Dropping back, looking over the middle, and it's caught. And staying up on his feet is Zion and Alexander in for the touchdown. And that is tough, man. I know that Coach Hohenberger is not happy with how all of that transpired. Started off with the, just kind of lack of thought on the punt, giving Whitehouse the football at the Paris 23, and then Whitehouse facing 4th down with the extra point up and good, converting and getting into the end zone. Tie ball game here at Wildcat Stadium. We'll be back with kickoff here on Paris Game Day.
At Moore Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paris, we can make your next vehicle purchase simple, stress-free, and built around you. Whether you're looking for a rugged Ram truck, an adventurous Jeep, or a quality pre-owned, we have the right vehicle for you at the right price. And with over 700 five-star reviews, our customers know that our friendly, knowledgeable staff is here for you. So come see us off the loop in Paris, Texas, and for more details, visit morecdjr.com.
And back at Wildcat Stadium, 7-7, our ball game. The Paris Wildcats drive 70 yards for the opening score, capped off by Jaron Baugh in just a beautifully efficient offensive drive. And then on the other side, the defense gets a 3 and out, and on the punt, Paris touches it, Whitehouse jumps on it, and then converts that into 7 points. And that's how we are where we are.
Absolutely. And you got to think with how your offense was rolling on that first drive, you know, you got to think that could have been a 14-point swing. I mean, rather than Paris having the touchdown on the next possession, Whitehouse getting it right back and able to punch it into the end zone.
Kick taken around the 20 to the 25. It'll be Shelton again. And right around the same starting point as Paris's first offensive drive, maybe a couple more yards up to the 34. And it'll be interesting to see how the Paris Wildcat offense responds to what has just taken place. As you know, Record trotting out onto the field, and for Jacabrian Record, this is a great learning moment of putting the negative behind you on to the next play. You still have a great opportunity in front of you to dominate this ball game. He'll be lined up in the slot, bottom of your screen. Red Finch out wide at the bottom of your screen. Here's the snap, handoff Dawson. Dawson barreling over defenders and picking up about 4 on first down. And that'll set up second down and 6.
Paris stays in the hurry up here. See if they might catch him out of rotation again on this drive.
So they line up, they hurry up to line up, and then kind of slow things down, get a look at how the defense aligns. 4 wide. Heath takes the snap, throws quickly out to the right side, and this is Keyshawn Roberts. Roberts taken down after picking up the first down.
See if they can get rolling again. You might. Looks like Whitehouse did get away with an offsides penalty over the left tackle, but doesn't end up mattering.
Snap, handoff Dawson, picking his way through across midfield. And he'll pick up 4, just as he did on first down only moments ago. Ball across to the 49-yard line of Whitehouse as Paris, like you said, quickly jumps back on the ball. And they usually go a little hard count and then look off to the side. Well, they might like what they see, and then that timing of that play was completely off. They're going to pick up a yard, but there was something definitely not right about that play from the jump.
Absolutely. You know, Whitehouse heavily telegraphing the pressure on that one. We've got a quarterback in Tyler Heath who's really a cerebral guy, and something was off. Timing brings up third down.
Oh, they got him here, and they're going to get a free play out of this to Red Finch. He can't come up with it, but nonetheless, this will be 5 free yards to set up 3rd and 1. And I know that Paris is also looking for that ever so discussed underthrown ball pass interference situation. You talked about Tyler Heath being cerebral, and lo and behold, we see it on the very next play.
Absolutely, you know, knowing that he's in a free play kind of situation, he can sling it deep. Low risk, high reward, and should be a routine third down.
from the 44 in Whitehouse territory. Snap, handoff, Gio. He has the first down, pushing the pile a little bit. And now Ball checks back into the game. I'll tell you what, man, Giovanni Dawson is not an easy young man to bring down. Ball has the spark. He has that first step. Dawson, you're going to have to jump on his back. First down, they go sweep to Keyshawn Roberts. Helmet comes off, and, then
some extracurricular action after that one on Baugh with no, obviously without his helmet, he has to go down there.
Yeah, that was sweep to Keyshawn Roberts, and he'll come out of the game. And that I think that's always an interesting rule. The opponent rips off your helmet, you have to come out of the game. I don't know. Second down and long. This is the first negative play we've seen, and they're going to get Whitehouse again. Another free play to Red Finch. Red with the catch down the sideline, and he is into the end zone. Red Finch with his 4th touchdown catch of the season, and this one comes from 48 yards out.
Oh, man, when you've got a smart guy like Tyler Heath, those offsides penalties can absolutely burn you. He knows it's a free play. He knows he's got a one-on-one matchup on the near side.
And I tell you, I bet Whitehouse is saying, hey, what about the push off on the other end? Red was very smooth with it. Didn't get the arm fully extended. Found that separation at the top of the route. Beautiful job. Whitehouse might have jumped again. The kick is up, and it is good. Now, if they jump and go to the 1, I promise you Coach Hohenberger's wheels will turn, and he's going to say decline it. 14-7, Paris with the lead, getting ready for kickoff coming up on game day.
Sorry you're under the weather, Susie. Here are those loan docs.
Thanks, James. I'm so glad we didn't have to delay this closing.
Tissue?
Thanks.
Secure and safe loan closings, or take care of just about any banking task. Experience the credit union difference. Anytime, anywhere. With RRCU's digital banking. Do you RRCU?
Back here on game day, that 48-yard reception to Red Finch. We talked about he didn't play that first offensive series because he also plays defense. He is the team leader in receiving yards, which he now has 248 of, in receiving touchdowns, which he now has 4. And I'm not good enough at math for this, but he was averaging 22 yards per catch prior to that. And now the kickoff, these first half offensive stats brought to you by David House Jewelry, where everything shines, including Red Finch, as Whitehouse on the return. They'll start around the 30-yard line, 29 officially. But I tell you, 22 yards per catch is a very good number.
Just an incredibly speedy, explosive guy. Kind of the exact player that those free plays are made for. Taking a big shot down the field, leading your receiver down the field.
And now, like we said, you know, after a long play like that, Red is going to get a much-deserved break on the sideline as Whitehouse is going to run it up the middle and have a nice gain on first down, brought down by Brandon Shores. Set up second and about 3 on the 7-yard gain. And they're going to speed it up a little bit. Handoff, hit at the line, pushed back, and that'll go for no gain. And his helmet comes off, so that young man is also going to have to come out of the game. That's Zamijah Mosley.
Couple themes early in this one. The helmets coming off of Paris players as well as the offsides on Whitehouse. I mean, every single play except for maybe 1 or 2, you got to think they'd gotten away with a lot of offsides up to that point. 2 big things hurting them early in this game.
Man in motion left to right for Whitehouse. Sprint right off the snap. looking for somewhere to go, finds it, completes it. And that'll be a new set of downs at midfield for Whitehouse.
That was a good, accurate pass on the run. I mean, you know, Whitehouse and all, I don't want to say it looked a little Mahomey, but.
Well, the quarterback is 5'9", 165 pounds, so there's not much looking Mahomey out there. A simple little out route on a sprint. I don't know. He's got to do more than that. Out of the shotgun, Adams takes the snap. He'll keep it himself up the middle. Bounces off a tackler, and it'll be another good gain on first down. And they're still pushing the pile, saying forward progress is still going. And finally,
I understand letting those sort of situations, you know, letting those scrums play out to a point, but, you know, you got to think you're moving a couple inches a second, one way, the other way, you know. At some point, you do start to worry about guys getting hurt in that pile.
So 2nd and 1, something you mentioned on the first Paris Wildcat drive. Paris defensively has to look out for anything in the playbook, dropping back, throwing deep, over the top, too far.
That's an incredibly difficult catch to make as a receiver. That ball is coming over your shoulders, and you have to take your eyes off of it for at least a moment, right? You're tracking the ball in the air. You have to turn your eyes back in front of you. Just incredibly difficult to track that ball in your head, and it falls incomplete.
As Caden Newberry in on the coverage, and there's a little bit of space there, but it has to be a perfect throw. You underthrow that ball, you're probably hitting Newberry in the back of the helmet. 3rd down and 1. And the reason you're able to take that deep shot is because you figure you can pick it up right here as they take off with the quarterback Adams, and he's got it. And that'll set up a new set of downs for Whitehouse at the 35-yard line. And for the Paris Wildcats, you know, defensively, you got that initial stop and then the blunder on special teams. And ever since then, on this drive, Whitehouse has, you know, been able to pick up chunks just like we talked about Paris being able to.
Absolutely, and on defense here, you know, tough break to start the game, but we've seen them look like the more tenacious team. I know it's subjective, but should be able to bend, not break, and get a stop here.
They set up the screen, and just a great job. I think that was Cam Floyd who was able to get a hand up on that ball. And that sets up 2nd down because, man, I tell you, the screens can be a dangerous game.
Absolutely.
And it looked like there was some room to run there.
That's such a big part of high school offenses, but Paris does great there to understand that it's a screen play and to stop in their tracks. And, you know,
ball on the ground. Adams jumps on it. And that'll set up 3rd and long. So your Paris, you do a great job of getting the stop on 2nd down or on 1st down, and then Whitehouse does it for you on 2nd down.
3rd down and 14 at the 39.
And Whitehouse just barely able to get onside with that receiver at the top. He initially was not lined up correctly, but
Whitehouse getting away with a little bit of a legal procedure there. Offensive line, one of them coming completely out of his stance. But
being chased, and this will knock the ball carrier out. That's Adams, the quarterback. He picks up the lost yardage, but now brings up 4th and 10 from the 35. Obviously a place where you're going to go for it. I'll push it up to the 34. They've relied on the quarterback a lot running the ball here in the 1st quarter.
They have, and, you know, we've seen him fight for a lot of extra yardage, you know, punching well above his weight class. But 4th down here, this will be a hard one.
Fakes the handoff, throwing, and has the catch and the 1st down. Just not quite able to close on that ball at the top of the route. And so Whitehouse as the first quarter starts winding down, knocking on the doorstep, and Paris defensively missed a golden opportunity. You had them at 2nd and 16.
First and 10 for Whitehouse at the Wildcat 23.
Man in motion left to right, fakes the pop pass, handoff. There's room on the left, and that's going to go into the end zone. Touchdown, Whitehouse. There is a flag down around the, around the 17-yard line. Let's see what this is. It's going to go against Whitehouse.
It's in the area offensive holding.
And it would have to be, because that looks like a spot foul setting up first and about 14.
Whitehouse heavily penalized in this one, but, you know, there's been a lot that they've gotten away with. Illegal motions, procedure calls, offsides on defense. Probably lucky they haven't lost even more yardage to penalties.
Paris bringing a player on late. Adams out of the shotgun, takes a snap, handoff, coming left side and getting all that yardage back, fumbles, but it goes out of bounds. And, you know, Paris a couple of times here on this drive have gotten Whitehouse well behind the chains, only for Whitehouse to pick it all back up.
Chris Garcia comes in there, punches right at the ball. Obviously fumble out of bounds, but Chris Garcia, just such a menacing defender. Really get in your head if you're a ball carrier in this game.
And they're trying to run away from him. You know, Chris, ABC gap, just good luck, you know. But they're trying to get to the sideline and stretch this thing out and make him run the long ways. This will be the final play of the first quarter. As he goes up the middle and looking to pick up that first down. It'll set up 3rd and short on the other end of the field. When we come back, 14-7, Paris leading Whitehouse here on Game Day.
Hey, I'm Josh Charette, project manager with 2B Builders. We're a local GC here in Texarkana. We have Lone Star out here doing our heating and AC. They do a good job for us. We really appreciate the customer service that they provide. I know that at Lone Star Heating and Air, I can always call Matt or Dave, their head commercial HVAC guy, and they will always pick up the phone when I need them. And that's a big thing when we're working out here on these commercial projects. Usually when we're in a bind, we need something and we need it pretty quickly, and we can rely on Lone Star for that. Hey.
There's something.
It's always a silver sedan.
Mm-hmm.
And we're back here on Game Day as the Paris Wildcats looking to keep the Whitehouse Wildcats out of the end zone. It's 14-7, and Paris being very opportunistic on offense. Defense and special teams, you know, still looking to catch up.
Absolutely, and Whitehouse has gotten a fair few lucky breaks in this game, recovering the fumble, the muffed punt on special teams, and a lot of favorable missed calls going in Whitehouse's direction. See if they can keep their lucky streak alive here. 3rd and short.
They're going to come out showing a little power here, heavy to the left, man sprints, motion left, and they're going to run to that side and pick up the first down. And that'll set up 1st and goal, I think, from the 10, unless they're at the 11. It's tough to see from this particular point, but yeah, it looks like 1st and 10 from the 10.
Now, if you're Paris, this is actually not a terrible spot to be in defensively. They got to go the whole 10 yards on a short field.
And they run it left side through the B gap and pick up about a yard. So not a whole lot there for the ball carrier, but nonetheless, Whitehouse feels like they're in business.
Absolutely, and with the condensed field here, you can keep that box heavy on these next 3 downs. So if you're Paris and you can lock in and get a stop right here, that would be, you could really capture some momentum with how your offense is rolling.
Single back, switches from left to right. Man comes in motion. Fake the handoff, and they've got a ton of pressure on Adams. They're going to bring him down in the backfield. Ball comes out. He was down. I don't think there's any question about that, but it takes them back a long way. We mentioned they've been opportunistic on offense. Defense needs to catch up. Here's an opportunity.
Absolutely, and JoJo Adams, you know, he's kind of this undersized but fast and shifty guy. Paris, though, just does such a good job of staying home on defense, and they're able to get the big sack there.
Yeah, there's been a couple of times when they've had a shot at him and missed, and that time they bring him down. And you would bet on 3rd and goal from the 13, probably going to be throwing here, and they do. Dropping back, setting up the screen, and they succeed. This one's probably, oh, no, going to catch him by the collar at the end. And thank goodness it was just the collar. That sets up 4th down, so you still do have a chance, but Whitehouse finally hitting that screen that they've already tried so many times to do in the early part of this game.
And that's such a difficult tackle to make. I mean, requires just an incredible amount of upper body strength to wrestle him to the ground there with just the arm and avoid, you know, grabbing the face mask, the horse collar there.
They're going to kick the field goal. This is interesting. This is a little bit surprising just considering how the Paris Wildcat offense has marched down the field. But they're going to elect to kick the field goal from the 5. And this one is doink. No good. Paris Wildcat football. How about that? We're going to keep it here on game day as they switch personnel. But, and you know, if you're Whitehouse, yeah, you know, there was a penalty that set you back. There was the sack that set you back, these types of things. But otherwise, you're humming, baby. I can't really fathom that call from Whitehouse to kick that field goal, especially, you know, they got to know what their kicker is.
Absolutely. Really a puzzling decision there. You know, you've proven your ability to pick up those hard 4 or 5 yards, 4th and goal from the 4. I mean, how the opposing offense is rolling, it's just hard to see the benefit of that one.
Here's the snap. They go Jerron Ball on 1st down. Ball picks up a couple of yards. As the clock rolls under 8 minutes here in the 2nd quarter. Brought to you by Moore CDJR. Thank you so much, Montgomery Moore, for being a part of Paris Game Day. And now Fabian Brown scored his first varsity touchdown as a sophomore. Bottom of your screen on the numbers. Heath out of the shotgun. They're going to throw it out to Roberts, and Roberts lets it slip through his hands, and that'll fall incomplete, and that's tough, man. That is where – that's the difference between 3rd and 7 and 3rd and 2, perhaps.
It's a very different feeling. I mean, you know, coaches, they think so much about down and distance. That's what so much of your scripting, your planning goes into, and big drop puts Paris in a difficult situation.
Heath put it where it needed to be, and now Paris comes out 4 wide. 2 receivers to each side. Heath out of the gun. Rolling out to his right, looking, and just kind of throws one up. And this one's going to fall incomplete, and that brings up 4th down, and Paris is going to be forced to punt.
And with Paris, you know, pass protection hasn't really been a struggle thus far in this game. Obviously, that was an issue a couple weeks ago against Pleasant Grove. But, you know, I don't particularly see the rationale behind rolling him out there. I mean, this is a guy who can sit in the pocket and really do some damage, as we saw last week.
Yeah, I know it's a part of their game plan. It's a part of what they came into the season wanting to do. Tyler Heath is a mobile kid, and so if you don't see it there, you're already running, so you can take off. Harper takes a slow snap and booms one that kind of takes a sideways Paris Wildcat bounce and goes out of bounds, and they save it. Spares a yard or two that time from Alexander, but that was a great punt from Boots Harper.
It was an incredible punt for a high school guy, and we kind of saw the opposite of what we saw on Paris's receive of the punt. I mean, you got to think he should have come up on that one a little bit sooner. Maybe he left 5-10 yards on the table, you might think.
I think he just had a tough time chasing it. And then they had a little discussion amongst the officials of where to spot that ball.
It did look like his foot was out of bounds as he recovered it.
And that's kind of where they put it, about the 31. He picked it up at the 29. They put it at the 31. I think they got it right. So Whitehouse offensively coming out after getting a stop. And Paris doing a little bit of that to themselves on the drop ball, but at the same time, the Wildcat defense stood tall. Whitehouse missed the field goal. Here's the snap. Ball bounces right to the quarterback, and now under pursuit is Boots Harper, and he brings him down for a big loss. And really, it was Jeremiah Robinson on the initial pressure that forced Adams out. And then Boots Harper saw that, and he was like, now I can break contain, right? Okay, I'm going to get after it.
Absolutely. Fool me once. He gets the pump fake on the initial pressure, but then Boots Harper, not fooled whatsoever, crashes right down in on him and gets a huge sack, a loss of over 10 yards on that one.
So to bring up 2nd down and 23 for Whitehouse. And they're going to go hand off, finds a hole, and ball comes out. It's bouncing around, and they're finally able to jump on it. And this is a bit of the tough thing for the Paris Wildcat defense. I get that it's going to be 3rd down and 15. That's still a great position to be in, but he gave up about 8 yards on that 2nd down play and had a chance to bring him down after 3 or 4, really. So Whitehouse, 4 wide. Paris showing kind of a bare front with 3 down defensive linemen. Out of the shotgun, Adams looking deep, throwing deep. This one might be intercepted, and it is. Paris coming the other way, makes a man miss, catches a block. And who is this? Aldrin Gill. And I know Aldrin Gill's got something big on his mind. Either that or he's thinking, you know what, I am going to do the smart, safe thing. And Aldrin Gill is feeling great, man. Good for that young man.
I think Whitehouse kind of finding themselves in an arm punt kind of situation, but it doesn't work how you want it to if you miss the tackle.
Well, not only that, it's 3rd down. I mean, I hear what you're saying. Usually that's the 4th down thought, but and Aldrin, last week had a breakaway end zone clear as day and drops the ball on the interception. This time, I love that he slid, made the wise decision. Good for him. Man in motion, they hand off Dawson. Dawson upended in a really nice tackle there, but a pickup of 4 on 1st down.
Dawson, such a low center of gravity. It's like you mentioned earlier, just an incredibly tough dude to bring down.
Twins to each side. Heath giving the hard count, then looking to the sideline. I find myself continuously watching this freshman left tackle, Allen, and he's doing a really good job. I mean, anytime that pressure is coming from the right side, and now Heath finds a dot, and it's Red Finch, and he goes out of bounds after a big gain. Probably slapping the ground, feeling like he could have scored, but hey, man, I mean, that was an absolute dart.
We've seen Tyler Heath do this time and again. Play is broken down. He's running for his life. Stops before going out of bounds and just finds him sitting there behind the defense. Incredible vision.
Handoff Dawson pushing the pile. And he'll be taken down after a gain of about 6 or 7. And Red, you know, I mentioned that 22-yard per catch average, and it has just gone up in this ball game with 2 catches closing in on 100 yards and a touchdown. As once again pushing the pile, picking up about a yard. That'll bring up 3rd and short. Now they're going to bring in what football fans may know as a jumbo package.
Chris Garcia in offensive formation.
And I think this is possibly a situation where Heath will line up as a receiver and Boots Harper will line up as a quarterback, but instead Paris will call a timeout. We'll take one with them. 14-7, Wildcats lead, looking to add to it. 3rd down right around the corner here on Game Day.
Hello everyone, I'm Jason with Golden Corral in Texarkana. I've got big cheers going out to Lone Star Heating and Air. I talked with Matt Shirley over at Lone Star Heating and Air. They actually came out, looked to see what we needed. They ordered the supplies or the equipment and everything. They came in and they did the install. They did 2 units in one day with no business disruptions whatsoever. Thanks to Lone Star Heating and Air, we got our air up and going and everything's running good. Hello.
And back on Game Day as the Paris Wildcats facing 3rd down and 2. Evan, is this 4-down territory?
You got to think, you know, if the Wildcats end up punching it in here, Paris gets a touchdown, you might start to think about that decision to kick the field goal from the 4-yard line as when it all got out of hand. I mean, Paris could start to run away with this game on this possession.
I like the mentality. Boots Harper, Wildcat for the Wildcats. Man comes in motion. Back to an orbit motion, and they run a little option, and Boots is going to keep it. Now, he was on top of the defender and rolled, and that might have given him an extra yard. So this is going to be very interesting to see. They do give him the yard, but he's a yard shy. And I'm with you. I like the thought, you know, you go for it here, and they're going to. And they're going to go right back to that Wildcat. Harper brings the man in motion. Snap up the middle, and he's got the 1st down.
You got to love the decision
now,
there. I mean,
Whitehouse is celebrating, and for whatever, they're saying that Whitehouse thinks Paris fumbled. Paris, however, the officials did not agree. And now we have all sorts of a mess here. I don't know what has happened.
a lot of shenanigans transpiring here in Paris, Texas. It's hard to even piece together what happened there. I mean, you saw Paris, you know, understanding they still have the ball and no ruling on possession, and the defense strolling
Well, there
off
was
the
a
field.
ruling on possession. They said Whitehouse is keeping the football, and, you know, Whitehouse had ran off the field. They made their own assumption. We're going to keep it right here on Game Day during this timeout. They made their own assumption. You know, we got the ball, we've got the ball. And the officials, I saw two on the goal line pointing Paris's way, and then they go and spot the ball. And Paris is going to run up and try to get a pretty much undefended touchdown. And unfortunately, I think that it's kind of like when you have too much of a wide open jump shot. And Whitehouse, on the other hand, they were discombobulated, so they called the timeout. When in reality, they could have pushed Paris back to about the 20 on where that ball was snapped. So they're going to go right back to Boots Harper in the Wildcat. And this is pretty much their goal line formation. There's the snap. Harper, he pretty much he's not looking for a hole. He's like, I'm just going to push everybody through. And the Paris Wildcats are in for the touchdown after a very strange.
And I'm still thinking about that sequence. We saw neither team penalized for what transpired, though you might think, okay, Paris snaps it without authorization from the officials while they're making subs. Maybe that's a legal procedure or offsides on Whitehouse. Strange occurrences.
Yeah, very odd sequence of events. Mitchell, sophomore lefty, punches this one up and good. Paris 21, Whitehouse 7. Kickoff coming up right around the corner here on Game Day.
At Raffaele Property Management, keeping our tenants comfortable is a top priority.
What?
That's why we trust Lone Star Heat and Air. They've always been dependable, quick to respond, and their work is top-notch. Whether it's routine service or an urgent call, they take care of it with professionalism and care. We couldn't recommend Lone Star Heat and Air more for anyone looking for a reliable HVAC service.
And we are back at Wildcat Stadium here on Game Day, and it's kind of funny being up 21-7 because you could look at Paris and say they haven't played their best.
Absolutely, and we've seen, a lot of different things break in favor of Whitehouse, but Paris having a really great half of football regardless, and you got to love where you are if you're the Wildcats.
Absolutely, especially offensively. They have been humming offensively. As we have about 3.5 minutes left here in the first half. Of course, Whitehouse will take the second half kickoff. So for them, they're thinking, okay, long drive, get in the end zone, eat up the clock, and then get the ball back and score. As Mitchell hits a high, beautiful kick taken around the 9. Paris closing in, getting the corner, but forced out short of the 30-yard line.
If you're Paris here, you have to think what Whitehouse is going to want to do. They're going to want to drive this all the way down, take away the remaining time in the half, score here, get the ball back and score again, and it's a tie game. And that's the last thing you want them to do is have that double dip. So important to get a big stop here.
Well, I always say it's 3 out of 4. You know what I mean? And that's really the vital thing. One stop on defense, you can get 3 straight scores. As Whitehouse comes out, man in motion left to right, inline tight end, handoff. And there is Floyd tearing off of his block and
this is kind of
making the tackle.
This kind of speaks to what I was on about earlier. Paris just proving themselves the more tenacious team to this point. I mean, fighting over every inch in this football game.
2nd down and 8, dropping back, under pressure, delivers a pretty good ball, but it's going to fall incomplete. And if you are Whitehouse, what you don't want to do, that stops the clock. 2:59. Paris, one timeout left only, but still, that would be plenty of time, and you have to throw it here.
And Whitehouse, just with some game management snafus to this point, I mean, the last thing you want to do is give the ball back to a Paris offense that has been gutting you this entire game thus far.
So 3rd and 8, Adams out of the pistol. First time we've seen them in the pistol. And they're going to hand off around the right side, looking for that first down marker and getting it. So a really good time for Whitehouse to throw that wrinkle in there, and they get it. They go back to their traditional shotgun set, throwing deep, and this one broken up. And a great job again, Aldrin Gill, man. He is pumped up. He's having a great game.
And you mentioned earlier, the pass interference on the underthrown balls. It's very difficult to play as a defender, and Aldrin Gill does excellently to, keep the hand fighting back and forth, keep it marginal, force the incompletion.
Now, even though Paris is getting some stops, that clock's not really moving much. They're going to go back to that pistol. Hand off, miss tackle, and then breaking away. Oh, man, another missed tackle. That's going to hurt. That is big time for the Paris Wildcats. You had him dead to rights, probably a loss of 1 or 2. That's tough.
We've seen very little time come off the clock in this drive. Just about 30 seconds down when, you're thinking Whitehouse kind of wants to matriculate the ball down the field, throw some over the middle, running plays, and kind of take it all the way down. But that run just guts you as a defense. 4 or 5 huge broken tackles there, and Whitehouse is set up in a good spot.
And so, fortunately, there was a young man who is able to get up on his feet and walk off under his own power. That's the running back, Mosley, who made the run. And, you do want to credit the ball carrier, contact balance and staying on your feet, those things. But you're never going to tell a coach, well, he was a tough runner. No, you made contact. You made contact. You made contact. You made contact. Someone bring him down. That's all he wants to hear. Snap back, looking. They're throwing that screen. That one hung in the air for a minute. Falls incomplete.
And what we've seen from Whitehouse thus far is just kind of a lack of discipline. Heavily penalized, miscommunications on screen plays. It's kind of been their undoing in this one, and it's a big part of the reason they find themselves down 2 scores.
Well, also, they've gone to that well a lot here in the first half. Snap back, throwing. They're going to go deep ball to really nowhere. That one falls incomplete, and now it's 3rd down. So, once again, Paris in a situation, you get a stop here. It's probably 4 down territory. I'm thinking, regardless of as long as you're going forward. You get behind the chains, then sure, you're probably going to punt that one. But any positive yardage, and you're in 4 down territory if you're Whitehouse, they fake the pop pass and then brought down in the backfield. And that looks like Jabraylon Hughes. And that is a powerful young man. And Jabraylon Hughes pushes Whitehouse back. And it is now 4th and 12. And, oh, yeah, the 2-minute timeout in high school football. 21-7. We'll be right back here on Game Day.
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks. I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you going to clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you going to clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
And back here on Game Day, as I'm trying to follow the clock operator and what they do on the official scoreboard. They had it at 1:54. Official asked them to restart it to 2 minutes following the newly applied high school football 2-minute timeout. And it is 4th down and 12. And as we said, you get pushed back, you punt. You pick up any positive yardage, you probably go for it on 4th down. Jabraylon Hughes gets the TFL. This is a pretty good punt, spiraling and Takes a nice bounce for Paris, but a great job in coverage by Whitehouse. Taking it down to the 1 yard line with 1:53 to go in the second quarter. So if you're Paris, the dream, I guess you would say, of putting up another score before the half kind of gets put on the back burner, and now you're like, we got to get out of the shadow of our own end zone.
Absolutely. Don't be surprised to see Wildcat formation here. Boots Harper, they love to go to him in these backed up situations.
The first thing you see is no Boots Harper on the field. And the back is going to be Jaron Baugh. Now, they are pretty heavy on the right side. Going out of the gun. Handoff Baugh. He's able to get out of the end zone and ends up picking up a yard or two. So 2nd and 8 from the 3. It's better. It's hardly better.
As we think about Whitehouse's previous drive, you know, what kind of became the story of it, we saw it in JoJo Adams' body language, just the frustration sort of mount, miscommunication on the screen, downfield with the receiver, and ends up being their undoing.
So Paris is going to break the huddle and line up at the 15-second point, and then it looks like a false start. Going to have a discussion amongst the officials to find out exactly what happened. This should be half the distance to the goal. It's 2nd down and 9 instead of 8. And that might be by design by Coach Hohenberger, not the false start, but you can risk a false start because the reward of getting Whitehouse to jump offside is much greater than the 1 yard penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a lot of difference between backed up at the 1 versus backed up at the 2.
And so Paris going to huddle up. I'm not sure what the holdup was there.
What we've seen and how this game has been called, a few strange occurrences as far as the officials managing this game, just in terms of the play clock and signaling possession.
Yeah, and largely have done a phenomenal job. Just every once in a while you cock your head to the side. They're going to hand off once again, just trying to push that pile. And this clock will continue to run, and if you're Paris, you're probably okay with that. As a matter of fact, you could take it into the half here, and I think that's what the Paris Wildcats want to do unless Whitehouse called a timeout here. They have one, and they did. They call a timeout. We're going to step aside and wrap this half up. Paris leading 21-0 here on Game Day.
We're here at the biggest game of the year for the kickoff, and I say these local guys have no competition, John.
No doubt, Stephen. Why sweat in the press box?
When you can sit like a king.
And we got the best seats in the house right here, baby.
Where every seat is the best seat.
Oh, yeah. Texas Furniture and Appliance. Local since 1927.
These players are definitely in their comfort zone.
You say something?
24 seconds left until the half, and Paris, just I think they're doing a pretty good job of managing their situation. Of course, that ball got backed up to about the 1, maybe even inside the 1. Official has asked the clock operator to mark it at 29 seconds left to play. And now when Whitehouse called timeout, they had 1 on the scoreboard, and there's still 1 on the scoreboard.
Formation here, if you're Paris, no timeouts left for Whitehouse. Shotgun here could come back to bite you.
And Baugh is going to take it out of the end zone and pick up a yard. And that clock is rolling. Yeah, they have one on the scoreboard. I didn't think they had one. And so Whitehouse really just hoping that, they can get a good punch at the line, win at the line of scrimmage, and get that safety. But that'll do it for the first half. Incredibly efficient for the Paris Wildcat offense, and the defense steps up in the second quarter. Paris leads 21-7. We'll be right back with our halftime guest from Red River Credit Union coming up here on Game Day.
Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
At Moore Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paris, we can make your next vehicle purchase simple, stress-free, and built around you. Whether you're looking for a rugged Ram truck, an adventurous Jeep, or a quality pre-owned, we have the right vehicle for you at the right price. And with over 700 five-star reviews, our customers know that our friendly, knowledgeable staff is here for you. So come see us off the loop in Paris, Texas, and for more details, visit morecdjr.com.
Back here on Paris Game Day, and the Wildcats, they walk out in that first possession, drive right down the field, and do so again and again, and a couple of big plays from Red Finch, a young man who has led this Paris Wildcat offense in receiving yards per catch, and receiving touchdowns, and he had a couple of big catches in that first half to help this Wildcat offense. We've got Cale Brashears with us from Red River Credit Union, and you guys, you had your member appreciation this morning. I was fortunate enough to be out there for that. Tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you, sir. Yes, it was a good morning, really good couple hours, good turnout. It was really a member appreciation and a grand reopening. We've been in Lamar County, we've been in Paris for 10 years, servicing full service, mortgage, CDs, investment, all that kind of stuff. But we actually just expanded our offices to add another mortgage loan officer, so we'll have someone on site to help out because we've had quite a bit of demand. We had some hot dogs. We had the radio station out. It was a good time.
Absolutely. And, you guys talking about a mortgage officer in Paris, it's always good to have that demand.
Oh, absolutely. Paris is it's always been a big area for construction and for agriculture, but really as far as residential construction, it's growing a ton. Y'all have some fantastic builders, some fantastic realtors. So, I've done some mortgages myself out here. I'm usually out of Greenville, but having someone more local, you can go in the office and kind of run through questions, see if there's a product that works for you. If not, get some advice on where to turn. That's what we're here for, is just to help people out.
And what I love about Red River Credit Union is you guys love sports.
Oh, man. I fit in immediately whenever I came on a couple years ago. I love high school football, and this is a great way to get involved in the community. In Texas, high school football means so much to so many people. It's pretty much just church. So,
yeah, 100%. And, of course, like you said, y'all's headquarters, y'all's main office out of Texarkana. That's a hotbed for high school football, whether you're talking about Texas High, Liberty Ilo, Pleasant Grove, the Arkansas side, of course. But, to be here in Paris and to be a part of this community, I think you're looking at supporting a team in the Paris Wildcats that are they're in a tough district, man. I don't know how familiar you are with the competition that Paris is having to play, but it's great to see a 5A school come into Paris and the Paris Wildcats really handle them pretty well in the first half here.
Absolutely. I mean, it would have been a decade ago that I actually went to a Paris high school football camp. I played quarterback for a 6-man little tiny school, and they had a couple 4-3, 4-4 guys back in the day. So, I mean, the talent is certainly there. You may not be drawing from the same enrollment or drawing from the same player pool, but y'all have some great coaches and, yeah, some great talent. Definitely some guys on the field who will go be playing at a school somewhere in the next couple years.
Absolutely. Appreciate that greatly. And so, Cale, I want to talk a little bit more about RRCU. We talked about your mortgage officer, new in Paris, in the area. Like I said, great to have that kind of demand to where it's like, man, you know, we should add this to our repertoire. What else is in that repertoire for our RCU? What do you guys offer?
It's a good question. Something that people assume about a credit union is that it's by appointment or there are only certain things we do. Anything a traditional bank would do, we are a full-service financial institution. So we're there for your savings, for your checking. We actually have a Teal Advantage account. It's $7 a month, and some of that gets waived if you sign up for e-statements. And we do things like telehealth. You can call in and get a prescription, free of charge without having to go see a doctor. Phone protection, that kind of stuff, things that come along in addition to the checking accounts. We do CDs. We even have a department who will handle life insurance and annuities and that kind of stuff. We do commercial lending, lines of credit. I love working with local builders. And then, of course, our mortgage department. We have a 3% down with no mortgage insurance, which, the last couple years, prices have been up, so every little bit helps. If we can save you on your payment, that can help you put you over the hump and put you into a home.
Absolutely. And so what I'm hearing from you, we're in a really interesting part of society where technology evolves so incredibly quickly, but at the same time, you have a generation of people who, still like to go and be face-to-face, to be able to shake a hand, not necessarily do everything online and on a computer. It sounds to me from what you described like you guys are able to service both of those ends of the spectrum.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a place for convenience as far as just going online for your banking. And we have online banking. There's a place for national banking companies. But if you don't have an office you can walk into, just this last week I had somebody come in looking to get just a little bit extra to do some utilities and that kind of stuff. It wasn't necessarily something we offered, but I talked them through, all the options that were available to them, and that's our thing. We think our products can stand for themselves. We're here to serve the community, so we trust we have something that's going to work for you, but if you don't, come into the office. We'll talk about it. We'll point you in the right direction. We have a Rolodex of many lenders, many other, people in the community. We're not here just by ourselves. We're here to serve the community along with the other financial institutions.
So you hear that? You can get it done online, or they have a Rolodex.
Right? That's an old word.
Yeah,
how about just contacts in the cell phone? There you go.
All right, man. I appreciate it greatly. And as we get ready to let you go, Cale, any final thoughts? It could be about our CU. It could be about the ball game, or give me a little bit of both.
Okay, yeah. Well, we've been in Lamar County for 10 years. We've been in Texarkana for 60 going on 70. We're excited to be more involved in stuff like this. So you'll be hearing more from us. Hopefully it's a great season for Paris's football team, and maybe we can see you again later in the year, be fighting for a playoff spot.
Absolutely. We certainly hope so. So Cale Brashears with RRCU here, Lamar County branch. We appreciate you guys so very greatly. And as the Whitehouse band gets ready to wrap up, we will have the Blue Blazes band for you coming up right around the corner here on Game Day.
Sorry you're under the weather, Susie. Here are those loan docs.
Thanks, James. I'm so glad we didn't have to delay this closing.
Tissue?
Thanks.
Secure and safe loan closings, or take care of just about any banking task. Experience the credit union difference. Anytime, anywhere. With RRCU's digital banking. Do you RRCU?
6 Kansas Creek, at Frisco, number 8 Sulphur Springs, and Aubrey, Lake Dallas, and Community.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I said that today right after you walked off when we were talking. I know what your long-term plans are. But I used to work in Sulphur Springs, and that's one of my branches at Red River now, and they are all about the football. So maybe eventually that would. I don't know what type of setup they have as far as in their stadium.
They have something similar to this called Chad's Media.
I didn't realize I know Chad's Media.
Yeah. And I'm obviously I'm a competitive guy, but at the same time, if this is the kind of thing I love, I don't know who they have sponsoring or anything, but I might reach out to them. They do a good job.
Okay. Yeah, I will. No, that's kind of what I was trying to say. If there's really somebody better for your situation, you would make calls and meet somebody better. But 9 times out of 10, people usually stick with us if they do a lot of something like that. So.
No, I appreciate that. I'm glad y'all are a part of this, man. Worked really hard to get it started. Obviously, Texarkana has blown up with Gameday. And
I'm glad to hear that. It's such a needed, technologically, we're at a point where this should be available to most high schools of this size. So.
Yeah, absolutely it should be. And the beautiful thing is we can also cover some of our smaller schools where, if you have a community where it's pretty much just that small school, like Mount Vernon,
You're not having cross-town rivalry with anybody because it's not big enough town to
you don't. But at the same time, in a couple of weeks we'll do Chisholm versus Prairie Land, and that's a big community interest game. And so for them to be able to have their game broadcast is a big deal, And so, like you said, it's usually the bigger schools that find a way to watch Duncanville every week.
Yeah. No, I did come to Paris for a football camp. I got invited to camp whenever, it was 2016 or 2015, so almost 10 years ago. And they had, I don't know if they ended up playing, but Jacoby Johnson, I think is his name. He used to play for Texas A&M. I find his name. It's JJ with the initials. It was, they played at A&M and then, kind of bounced around the NFL on practice squad type things. And he was one of the ones running the camp. And I remember, it's end times, but I remember the two starting cornerbacks. One was a senior and one was a sophomore. Both clocked at 4.4 on the,
that's something serious, yeah. Because, man, my older brother and I talk about this all the time. He's from Dangerfield, and boy, you talk about a small town that has just a very odd crop of talent.
Yeah.
Just, for whatever
reason.
There's always someone who says they knew a guy who ran a 4.3, and I'm like, y'all don't really know.
I understand what a 4.3 is.
Yeah, exactly.
No, because they're extremely fast. They're a handful. There are a few than 5 NFL running backs that run a 4.3.
Exactly.
Cornerbacks are one thing, but Zeke in his prime, he was a 4.4. Yeah, so he wasn't a 4.3, and he was one of the best prospects of all time. People round down pretty frequently. 4.4 is about as fast as you could ask anybody to be in.
Absolutely. When I was in Mount Pleasant, we had a kid that he ran a 4.49.
This concludes our halftime
We were in the 8th grade, which he failed. So he was technically a freshman. Ran a 4.49, and when he graduated as a senior, ran a 4.48. And
Just never
just
set up.
Yeah. Now, he got better as a player. Just taking
Yeah,
the side of the game.
A lot of those guys don't realize that work on speed if you want to get better. Our high school football coach was a track guy, and he was like, you have to train for speed. You're not just going to naturally get faster unless you're free.
See if we can figure out how people can get this
You have your spot back if you want.
Carol, man, I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime you're in Paris, holler at me.
Yeah.
I'll take you and a coworker to lunch or something.
Yeah, it'd be a good deal. Did you meet Landon today?
Landon?
Landon is our new mortgage loan officer. I should have said his name on the air, but Landon Devins, he's a young man we just hired. He'll start. He was there today, but he's starting later this month, and so I'll get y'all connected.
Gotcha. All right.
But good to see you, man. Thank you so much for the chance to get on air with you. And did you go recorded? Like afterwards on Facebook? YouTube video?
You'll be able to put it up on Facebook.
I'm gonna post it everywhere.
We would like to thank Zach Sappel for joining us tonight to congratulate our winners. The top three floats are, in no particular order, Aiken Elementary, Paris High School Cheer, Paris High School Soccer. Please give the three final organizations a round of applause. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, we proudly present the Paris High School Blazers under the direction of Andrew Musgrove. Blazer officers, Lieutenant Sandy Desmond, Lieutenant Kylie Davis, and Captain April Medina. Blazer of the Week is Ava Mathis. Tonight, the Blazettes will be performing their routine with the hit song Kings and Queens, played by the amazing Blue Blazers Band. Thank you, Wildcat Nation, for your continued support, and we hope you enjoy their performance. To continue the halftime performance, please welcome to the field the Paris High School Blue Blazers Band. The band is under the field direction of drum majors Stephanie Gutierrez, Malia Nichols, and Jewel Amori. The soloists tonight are Miranda Hernandez on alto saxophone and Sandy Gomez on flute. Wildcats of the Week are Aiden Jenkins, Ashke Bagarayanda, Larissa Artega, and Caleb Yarbrough. Section of the week is the front ensemble. At the edge of the world, where nature is still wild, mysterious colors weave their way through the night sky. Tonight, we are presenting our first and second movements entitled Dance One and No Place Like Home.
And with that said, I think that the Paris Wildcats need to step it up a little defensively. I think that Whitehouse probably left some opportunities on the field with their offense. However, the Paris Wildcat offense themselves did a phenomenal job of just marching up and down the field, being efficient, run game, pass game, both were working. And so they'll get an opportunity for that defense to right the ship as this kick, oh man, boy, it walks the line, but in walking the line, it touches the line, and a flag will come out. But I'll tell you what, Mitchell nearly made Whitehouse make a really tough decision there.
Absolutely. Tough break. You know, 2 consecutive kicks, or 2 kicks in this game out of bounds. Obviously, the third, a really deep booming kick to the near side of the field.
So Whitehouse is going to start with the ball at the 33-yard line, and the offense has been tremendous. For the defense and special teams, it's just been you know, they're doing well. There's just a little something not entirely crisp about it, as here you're going to have a long first down run from Mosley. Good to see him back on the field, and Mosley walked off under his own power after an injury in the first half, and clearly he is okay. Takes this one across midfield to the Wildcat of Paris 48. They quickly get back to it, and he is quickly met as a flag comes out here. Now right there at the line of scrimmage, that's either in the area of a hold or a possible face mask. Personal foul, face mask.
You know, if you're Paris on defense here, you really got to settle into this one. You have a lead that's absolutely not impenetrable. 2 touchdowns. Whitehouse scores here. They're right back in this game. Settle into this possession, bend, don't break, and get a stop here.
Yeah, so 2 plays, and Whitehouse has moved from their own 33 to the Paris Wildcat 35, so not the ideal start on defense for Paris, when we just talked about how it, you know, you hold them to 7, but it wasn't necessarily a great showing defensively, as Chris Garcia steps up and puts a stop to that run after a gain of 2 or 3.
We saw Whitehouse play a sloppy first half, to put it lightly. I mean, heavily penalized. They got away with a lot of different things, but if they can put together a drive here, that massively changes the complexion of this game. You came out of it as Paris feeling like you left a lot on the table, but Whitehouse did as well. So we'll see if both teams can't settle into this one and give us a thrilling second half.
2nd down and 8. Out of kind of a short pistol. They're going to hand it off again, and there is just nothing there for Mosley. Coming up and making that tackle, Cam Floyd along with Robinson. And that goes for no gain. As a matter of fact, they mark him back 1, brings up 3rd down and 9.
And haven't we seen this again and again from Paris's defense? The tenacity, staying home, staying in their gaps, and playing the run very well so far in this one. Whitehouse began this drive with a couple of big chunk plays, but they've got them backed up in an unfavorable down and distance.
From short pistol to the shotgun, takes the snap, fakes the handoff, stepping around in the pocket to the left side, firing deep, and this one is going to be, they're going to say, caught. Wow. And the quarterback took a lick. Underthrown ball, both the receiver and the corner adjust to it. Kind of a little tangle, but once again, you know, you get Whitehouse to 3rd and long, and they're just not able to make that play to get Whitehouse off the field. Handoff up the middle and into the end zone, and Whitehouse, I mean, they just march right down the field against the Paris Wildcats on that opening drive here in the second half.
And the Whitehouse comes right out, punches you in the throat if you're Paris. You got to think how you're going to react to this one. Your offense has been rolling this whole game. If they can keep that momentum, they can continue to run right away with this one.
Extra point. brought to you by Lone Star Collision Center, is up and good. It is 21-14. We'll be back with kickoff coming up right here on Paris Game Day.
Josh Durrett, project manager with 2B Builders. We're a local GC here in Texarkana. We have Lone Star out here doing our heating and AC. They do a good job for us. We really appreciate the customer service that they provide. I know that at Lone Star Heating and Air, I can always call Matt or Dave, their head commercial HVAC guy, and they will always pick up the phone when I need them. And that's a big thing when we're working out here on these commercial projects. Usually when we're in a bind, we need something and we need it pretty quickly, and we can rely on Lone Star for that. Hey,
So Whitehouse gets a big play and then a penalty. Paris knocks them back to 3rd and 9, and then it was a big throw down the sideline that Whitehouse is able to corral, and they go in on the next play with the run from Mosley, and that brings it to 21-14, and 21-7 feels so comfortable, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and if you're Paris, you find yourself in what feels like a completely different game now, just up 1 touchdown.
And so Paris back deep to receive, taken around the 20, breaks a tackle to the 30, and that's where Whitehouse will stop the Paris kick return. And Paris Wildcat offense will come out around the 32 or 33.
You've been rolling on offense this whole game so far. This is where it matters. You know, if they go 3 and out, Whitehouse gets this ball right back, you're tied when you were up 2 touchdowns at halftime. Get your quarterback into a rhythm, get a couple of easy completions, and just matriculate this ball right down the field like you've done the whole game. Very efficient in the first half, and see if they can keep the streak going.
And so Paris comes out 4 wide, as they have done a majority of the time here. Hand off right side, nice hole, picking up about half of what's needed. And I didn't see who that was. They said Aldrin Gill. And now they're going to go empty gun 5 wide, which is the reason why Gill was the running back on the play before, so that you can hurry up, get back to the line, and now Gill goes to his traditional slot receiver spot. 2nd down and 4 as Heath gives the instructions to the offensive line. Takes the snap, looking right, throwing right, caught, hit, maybe just shy of the 1st down marker. It's going to depend on that spot at the 40, so they're going to say he was about a yard short, maybe a couple of yards. Brings up 3rd and 2. And Gill going back to the backfield, lined up to the left. And they're going to hand it to Gill, and he makes a man miss, picks up the 1st down.
Interesting what Paris has been able to do so far on that series. I mean, you know, kind of cycling between the empty gun and putting Gill in the backfield, segueing from formation to formation with no subs involved.
Well, you know, Gill as a freshman was a varsity player, kind of just sprinkled in and did a little bit of everything. As Paris nearly got Whitehouse to jump for the 3rd time. They did get him to jump, just didn't snap the ball there. You're getting the play from the sideline. Now Heath having to scramble, and he'll take off down the sideline as well.
We've seen flashes of brilliance in the improvisation game from Tyler Heath against Pleasant Grove 2 weeks ago. Lone touchdown in that game late in the second half by Tyler Heath. Had a huge touchdown run. He flashes the speed right there.
And that was on a long 3rd down, 3rd and 27. He ended up scoring from about 30 yards out or so. Takes a snap, fakes the handoff, throws out to the side, makes a man miss down the sideline, and caught around the 30-yard line And that looks like Keyshawn Roberts. And that's what he brings, man. He sidestepped and then was smoking up the sideline.
And you've got weapons if you're the Paris Wildcats. I mean, guys that you know can get in the open field and make some people miss.
Yeah, we've seen Gill with the speed, Jaron Ball. We've seen Red Finch. I mean, and we haven't really gotten to all of the weapons for the Paris Wildcats as Ball, the back to the left of Heath, and now switches over to the right. Now sprint out left. They're going to throw a screen to him. Caught. No, there goes Jaron Ball. He'll take it into the end zone. Touchdown, Paris.
I know, I mentioned offensive weapons for Paris. There's one right there, going right around the edge. I mean, they say speed kills. He gets all the way around the defense, and these screens, a big part of both offenses we see before us today.
Yeah, just a phenomenal play call. You switch him from left to right, back to left, and then he sprints out left, and it turns out it's a script. Man, just a wonderful design as Mitchell for the extra point. It's up, and it is good. Paris Wildcats stretch it back to 14, 28-14. Paris on top here on Game Day.
Everyone, I'm Jason with Golden Corral in Texarkana. I've got big cheers going out to Lone Star Heating and Air. I talked with Matt Shirley over at Lone Star Heating and Air. They actually came out, looked to see what we needed. They ordered the supplies or the equipment and everything. They came in and they did the install. They did 2 units in one day with no business disruptions whatsoever. Thanks to Lone Star Heating and Air, we got our air up and going and everything's running good.
Back here on Game Day where the Paris Wildcats go 68 yards, capped off by a Jaron Baugh touchdown reception. Caught it short from Tyler Heath and took it the distance. Great blocking out on the edge. And the Paris Wildcat offense that put up 52 last week, looking to stay on that same pace.
Just what the doctor ordered if you're Paris, you know.
Yeah, and speaking of what the doctor ordered, Paris, an opportunity to set Whitehouse back, and they do inside the 20. They're going to give him the 18-19, it looks like. Keyshawn Roberts, who had a big catch and run, comes up and makes the tackle. Love that from a kid who plays all 3 phases, man. Special teams, offense, defense. Paris relies so much on guys like that as Whitehouse has a twins bunch to the right and they hand it off and trying to create some holes. They do. And still pushing the pile, and it's going to end up being a first down, and I don't think he has a helmet. Yeah, the helmet is in the hands of an offensive lineman, which means they should have stopped the play.
Absolutely, and yeah, in Texas high school football, if your helmet comes off,
it's dead.
The play is dead immediately. They will honor the yardage, the forward progress.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, and, of course, that's a case of them, okay, now they back it up to the other side of the 30, so spare about 3 yards there, but they're going to go similar formation. Now in the backfield for Whitehouse is going to be John Grimes. Ball's on the ground, shuffling around. Paris looks like they picked it up. And I think they did, and there is a Whitehouse coach next to us who is not happy. I'll tell you, I've got the headset on, and I can hear every word that we are not allowed to say.
Tough break if you're Whitehouse. I mean, the botched exchange on the handoff.
Well, and, you know, I guess unintended, but perfect timing, pointing out a new back. You know, you had such great luck with Mosley, who scored on the possession before. You bring in a new guy who we really hadn't seen up to this point, and lo and behold, there's a miscommunication on the exchange.
Absolutely. That's Whitehouse's 4th or 5th fumble of the game. You got to, at some point, you had to start wondering when their luck was going to run out.
Absolutely. So Heath back on the field with a short field. Rolling to his right. He'll probably tuck this one and run. They're in man coverage, and there's that shiftiness, the moxie, as you like to say.
With the keeper, quarterback Tyler Heath.
So he goes out of bounds a yard shy of the first down. And I think when you see man coverage and you're rolling out, that receiver carries the defensive back up the sideline. That leaves just green grass in front of you.
2nd down and 1 for the Wildcats.
Man comes in motion. There's the pop pass to Keyshawn Roberts. Trying to turn the corner. He does, and he'll pick up the first down.
Paris putting on an offensive clinic today. You know, they have hurt Whitehouse in so many different ways. Jet motion, screen passes, Tyler Heath creating on the ground with his legs.
Deep balls.
Absolutely.
They'll go 4 wide, record in the slot, near side. They hand off Dawson. Dawson churning his way forward, picks up about 6 to 7.
Gio the baby bull Dawson. Picks up yards up the middle.
As Mr. Rydell Martin, the PA announcer, calls him Gio the baby bull Dawson. I like it. Dawson takes it once again, and he's still looking for his first varsity touchdown of his career. He'll be about a yard shy of the first down marker. 3rd and 1 coming up.
Paris interior offensive line has played amazingly in this game. See if they can't drive them in for the score here.
They'll go to Dawson one more time, pushing and punching into the end zone. Touchdown, Gio Dawson. And last week, Paris had 2 players who scored their first varsity touchdown. This week, Gio Dawson gets his. And with about 5.5 left in the 3rd quarter, the Paris Wildcat offense has 34. It'll stay 34.
Our second doink of the game.
Nonetheless, nice offensive output from Paris. Or is there a flag on the play? We've got the special teams units staying out there on the field.
It will be a re-kick.
A re-kick, wow. And it doesn't look, yeah, they're going half the distance to the goal, and so we are going to have a re-kick here and a chance for Mitchell to say that one never happened. This one's going to be blocked, but Whitehouse was undoubtedly offside. Boots Harper makes a strong, hard tackle, but that's just going to be wasted. There is another flag here, and now I think he's going to put the offense on the field. I think they're going to go for 2 now.
From now you're at the half-yard line. That first one, half the distance from the 2 to the 1. Now that football inching towards the goal line.
And you know what's coming. I love this brand of football from the Paris Wildcats because it's going to be, is Army?
It looks like heavy, some heavy package.
It's a heavy package. It's a jumbo. You got big boys up there, but you know that it's going to be a Wildcat. Boots Harper takes the snap. Here it is. Just see if you can stop it.
I love the Lane Johnson reference, by the way. You know what's coming.
Or is going to be Baugh taking the snap. Jaron Baugh takes it, pushing, and I think he got in. Absolutely. They haven't given a signal, but I really think he got in. Coach Hohenberger certainly thinks he got in.
And the 2-point conversion attempt is no good.
They're going to say no good. Score stays 34-14. We're going to take a break, and we will be right back with kickoff here on Game Day.
At Raffaele Property Management, keeping our tenants comfortable is a top priority. That's why we trust Lone Star Heat and Air. They've always been dependable, quick to respond, and their work is top-notch. Whether it's routine service or an urgent call, they take care of it with professionalism and care. We couldn't recommend Lone Star Heat and Air more for anyone looking for a reliable HVAC service.
And back here on Paris Game Day, and, you know, Coach Hornberger, I guarantee you, he is going to look at that one over and over and ask why we didn't get that call.
Absolutely. It looked crystal clear from up here in the press box, but
there's a lot of bodies down there when you're looking dead down the line. This is a high kind of, oh, this ball's on the ground. There's going to be a fight for it, and the official looks like he is perplexed. Look at this official near the 48. He just put his hands on his head.
Number 24, Jacaden Robbins, he calls for a fair catch and muffs it on the surprise onside kick. We'll see how they sort this one out.
And they're going to say it stays with Whitehouse.
Did look like they got on it in the pile there. Now, you can call for a fair catch in that scenario.
He did. We're re-kicking. I'm not sure. There was a flag? No. We're re-kicking for whatever reason. But nonetheless, Mitchell is going to line up to boot this one away again. And this time he kicks it high and deeper to around the 20. It bounces and taken down around the 25. So there have been some very interesting situations in this game where you're kind of left just going, I don't know.
Absolutely perplexing scenarios, and you know, you hate for officiating to be a focal point. You know, Texas high school football referees are some of the greatest in the nation, and that's widely known. But you know, we've just seen some odd scenarios transpire this evening that just leave you scratching your head.
Yeah, by all means, whatever their reason being, I'm sure that, you know, they're valid, they're the right calls and everything. We just don't know exactly what those calls were. Here's the snap, hand off. There's a hole on the right side, and that is plugged up and just put a stop to. I'm trying to see who that was that made the tackle.
You know, if you're Whitehouse, there's two things in this game that just have you kicking yourself. There's the fumble on the previous drive and the decision to go for the field goal earlier in this game. You know, there's several points where we've started to feel sort of a shootout brewing in this one, but that just hasn't taken place. Mistakes and just a lack of discipline undoing the Whitehouse Wildcats.
And you mentioned the fumbles. They fumbled probably 4 or 5 times, and at some point you're going to lose one. Is Harper chasing down the quarterback. He's able to complete the pass, but it'll be a short gain. There was a lot more potential there, but I think the pressure and then the coverage is going to result in a 3rd and 3 instead of something much larger.
It's like you said, you know, in the first half, we saw Whitehouse get a fair few lucky breaks as we have a timeout.
Yeah, we've got a player down. It's Red Finch. He's going under his own power, but all of the power is from the left leg. And hopefully Red is okay. Young man who's having just a magnificent season. You know, had a chance to talk to him earlier this week about this particular game, and he said, look, we just didn't come out ready last year. We were 3-0. We thought we had it in the bag. And then, you know, you go out to Whitehouse and get punched in the mouth. So we're going to be better prepared this week, and they certainly have been. Here's a snap. They fake the toss and then go to Mosley, and Mosley is sprinting down the sideline and finally taken down after a long gain, and Mosley is having a really good second half.
You know, and if you're Whitehouse here, you really have to hustle the rest of the way here. You're down big in this one. They're going to need to string together many, many plays like we've just seen if they have any hope of getting back in this one.
Down to the 26-yard line, first and 10, Whitehouse.
And so after resetting the chains, we have about 4:15 on the clock here in the third quarter. Brought to you by Drake Companies. Thank you guys so very much for sponsoring Paris Wildcat football. And, you know, there's another big run. This time it's Grimes. He'll set up second and short. They quickly get back on it. Line up. Going to be close to a first down. Needed 2, got 1.
And, you know, if you're Whitehouse, you almost feel like you're on your last gasp here, you know, this drive. If you don't get a touchdown here, your outcomes start looking really grim if you can't punch it in the end zone here.
And so they say no gain on that play. And Whitehouse, you know, you're down 20, and we're in the latter portion of the third quarter, and they are moving pretty slow and methodical as Jabraylon Hughes puts a big hit on the quarterback on a straight draw. And that's right at the sticks, but they change it to 4th down. You can see that's about 2 feet.
4th and inches here. We really see, you know, Whitehouse kind of taking their time. Maybe time they don't have. Down 20 late in the third.
Yeah. I'm looking at Red Finch, who came off the field a little bit earlier, and he's talking to Coach Chad Hellberg, man, just simply best in the business. Shaking that right foot. I think he's going to be okay. 4th and inches, and they go handoff, and that one is stonewalled. It'll depend on the push.
Oh, that's going to be close.
That is very close. Coach Hohenberger certainly thinks he got it. And the Paris Wildcat defense comes off the field, and here comes Tyler Heath in the offense.
And that's big if you're Paris. Now, you know, leading by 20 in this one with how your offense has been going, you've had one drive in this game that didn't result in points. If you can get another touchdown here, that's
pretty much, I mean,
the ball game.
Nothing's not until the zeros hit, but
I don't want to bless it with the announcer's jinx, but this is where you really put the nail in the coffin if you're Paris.
Yeah, 27 or 28 points is tough to overcome in one quarter. As Heath comes out, I believe that is Baugh to his left. 4 wide. Man comes in motion. And this has got potential, just one man, and that one man holds him up just long enough, because if he didn't, there was space. And I'll tell you what, Jerron Baugh can absolutely go.
And let me tell you, that is not a good feeling as a defense. If going against a team that can do whatever they want, that's piecing you apart in the passing game, on the ground, they're picking up, being very efficient with the run. I mean,
and doing this, by the way, a reminder, with a freshman left tackle. That has been very impressive for Allen, the left tackle. Going to hand it to Baugh again. He picks up about 2 or 3.
Got to think if you're Whitehouse here, you know, you've had a rough game defensively. You're almost at the point where you start looking for things to build on. You know, guys who are going to contribute in later weeks, kind of, you know, see what that starting rotation might be.
And if you're Paris, you know, again, these things don't really matter, but you probably start looking at, well, you know, Kilgore, who's a state title contender, they beat them by this much. We beat them by about the same amount. And here's Record trying to get to the edge, and he does, and Record will be close to first down yardage. And I think he got it.
You know, as the chains move on that one, it just really is kind of speaks to the common theme we've seen throughout this whole affair. Paris being incredibly efficient on offense, you know, able to control down and distance, move the ball at will, and possess the ball for really long periods of time.
So the Wildcats come out, trips at the top of your screen, snap to Ball picking his way through, and he'll have another first down and more. Ball hitting the corner down the sideline, a stiff arm, and finally taken down out of bounds. And Ball has to be closing in on 100 yards on the day.
Ball with the touchdown on the previous offensive drive.
Through the air on a pass catch.
Yep, in the screen, and he is just forcing his will on this defense, you know.
Yeah, and then when Ball comes out of the game, you're going to have to tackle Giovanni Dawson. Maybe doesn't have the same speed, but I'll tell you, those trunks are just as hard and tough to bring down as Ball, in the blink of an eye, picks up 7 more. And I see Coach with his hand on Dawson's shoulder, so they're getting ready to send him in.
And each of these runs, you can kind of feel the life evaporating from Whitehouse. You know, this defense has been run ragged in this game, and we see it in their body language. These guys are looking tired, looking like they're out of sorts. And Paris has done well to put them in that place.
It's going to do it for the third quarter. 4s go up. Fourth quarter action coming up. Paris with a commanding lead here on Game Day.
Yay! We're so excited you decided to become a member.
Thanks. I didn't think it would be this easy.
I know. We've opened up memberships so even more people can take advantage of our amazing services.
Are you going to clean this up?
Become a new member and take advantage of all RRCU can offer. Experience the credit union difference anytime, anywhere.
No, seriously, are you going to clean this up?
Do you RRCU?
Fourth quarter action tonight brought to you by Roadrunner Service and Tire. Thank you very much to one of Lamar County's biggest sports fans, Mike Davidson, and Roadrunner Service and Tire. I know that Mike and I connected, never met in our lives. And I walk into Roadrunner, and he knew me from talking about the Dallas Cowboys on Twitter. Sports is a great unifier, man, I'm telling you. And so I'm really happy that Mike and Roadrunner are a part of Paris Game Day. We couldn't do it without them, so thank you guys so very much. Formation we haven't seen out of Paris, trips bunch to the right. And they hand it off, and that one well defended by Whitehouse, including a face we haven't seen tonight. Jamarius Shelton, who's backup quarterback, was in as a slot receiver right now at this point. So it'll bring up 3rd and 2 as that play went for no gain. And this is certainly, I wouldn't say it's 4-down territory, actually. If you don't pick this up, you take more points.
Absolutely. You know, going up from up 20 points to 23, it's a bigger difference than you think.
Sure is. Here's the snap, and they're going to dump off to Keyshawn Roberts. Roberts right there at the pylon, and they've got him down to the 1. There is a flag down.
Be in the area of offensive holding out there on the edge.
That's also going to depend on where it's at. Holding's a spot foul. So let's see where they threw that from. He went down at the 1, and they're still saying, first down, which is possible. Now, if it happened at the line of scrimmage, you're in trouble.
Yeah, it almost takes you out of field goal range at that point.
Well, it was up the field, so they're putting it at the 14, so basically you lose 1 yard. 3rd and 3 instead of 1st and goal from the 1. Yeah, do it again, just don't hold. So ball will be the back in the backfield, 4 wide. Snap, fake the handoff, throwing to the end zone, and this is caught. It doesn't matter. Put those, oh, they're saying no catch? It certainly looked like it was caught.
Incomplete, but we'll certainly see a pass interference call on Whitehouse. An incredible record, an incredible...
No, Coach Hohenberger wants the catch. Wow. Now, either way, this is going to be a first down. That would have been pass interference on the defense, surely. So it'll be a first down. Coach Hohenberger, felt that his young man out there made a play.
That was a really well-placed goal line fade ball there by Tyler Heath. And this is a sophomore, or rather Ashton Park out there on the edge, does a really good job to compete for it. Ends up being incomplete.
Now, Whitehouse does get hit with the pass interference call, so 1st and goal for the Paris Wildcats. They go big up front, and Paris moves. And this is why you argue for the touchdown, because even though it's 1st and goal from the 2 or 3, from the 2, and now you're 1st and goal from the 8, it's 7, it's not as sure feeling. And not only that, your play was for the 2-yard line, not the 7-yard line. Handoff Bob, and he just trips up, and the ball comes out, but they're definitely saying he was down.
As he was, you got to think, it looked like he had a head of steam working out from left to right.
Now, Red Finch is coming back in, all 6'3" of him. And what I would like to see here, all right, 2nd and goal from the 7. No, Red steps back on the sideline.
He backs out of the formation. He would be a menacing presence here against the goal line defense.
Marquis Shelton wide to the top of your screen. Man comes in motion. They hand off ball, and he's pushing ahead, taken down inside the 5.
And look at the push you're getting on the interior offensive line for Paris. I mean, you drove them on that play. You drove them from the 7-yard line all the way into their own end zone. I mean, you have to feel great about that. No numbers advantage on Paris's side. Simply a battle of wills, and Paris wins that one.
So 3rd and goal from the 3. You got Fabian Brown, the sophomore, wide at the bottom of your screen, man in motion. They hand it off. Ball will go into the end zone this time. Clear cut, no questions asked. Touchdown, Paris Wildcats.
You got to love the use of the jet motion there. I mean, that's absolutely something you have to honor in a goal line situation. Kind of maybe keeps the defense frozen in their spots, and they're able to take it in for the touchdown.
And that is 40 for the Paris Wildcats. As Mitchell comes out for the extra point, and looking to make this sequence nice and easy. There you go. Kick is up, and it is good. 41-14, the Paris Wildcats. The blowout is on here at Wildcat Stadium on homecoming. Kickoff coming your way here on Game Day.
We're here at the biggest game of the year for the kickoff. And I say these local guys have no competition, John.
No doubt, Stephen. Why sweat in the press box?
When you can sit like a king.
And we got the best seats in the house right here, baby.
Where every seat is the best seat.
Oh, yeah. Texas Furniture and Appliance. Local since 1927.
These players are definitely in their comfort zone.
You say something?
back here on game day. The Paris Wildcats have put up 40+ for the second week in a row. And 3 out of 4 weeks, they've put up at least 35. So this Paris Wildcat offense and the run game has been something serious tonight. And that is a big relief. Coming in, they knew that Tyler Heath and these passing weapons. And then last week against Van Alstyne, Jerron Ball has about 150 yards rushing. And that effort has been repeated here tonight against Whitehouse.
Absolutely. Having himself another superstar-type game. Just a game that absolutely guts a defense and can leave them reeling for weeks after. Gotta love what you see if you're rooting for the Paris Wildcats tonight.
Mitchell punches this one high to around the 20. Taken. Right side. And a lot of room over there on the left. As Keyshawn Roberts forces him to reverse field, and he'll finally be brought down. A really nice return around midfield.
And you know, Steven, we had discussed earlier in this game, as Paris finds himself up big in this one, you schedule a team who had defeated you the previous year, who's in a higher conference on homecoming, you know, and kind of the decision-making that went into that. But they have put a lick on Whitehouse tonight and delivered an amazing performance for this home crowd here on homecoming.
Absolutely. This is exactly what you want on homecoming. Now, coaches, and it doesn't matter what coach you're talking about, they don't love homecoming. They want to focus on ball. They want the thing to stay about the thing. But homecoming is such a community type deal. As here's a nice little reverse, but Brandon Shores has it sniffed out. And a job well done by Shores. That one goes for 5 instead of, if he's not there, could have been a lot more.
Incredible pursuit by Shores on the edge there. I mean, he looked like he had everyone beat, but he makes up some significant ground to limit a potential explosive play.
Now, Red Finch is back in the game at corner in this defensive series for Paris. Straight drop, deep ball, and knocked away. Looks like that was Chris Garcia, who we know as a tackling machine, dropping into coverage and deflecting a deep ball.
You know, and at this point for Whitehouse, you're trying to find something to build on. We see a mesh passing concept there. He tries to force it down the field when, you know, he has an open man closer to him, open in the middle of the field, but tries the more daring throw.
So Whitehouse checking out the sideline, looking for the play. Adams out of the gun. And they hand this one off, and taken down after about a gain of 1 or 2. That's going to bring up 4th down. Of course, Whitehouse is going to go for it. 4th and 4. And even though the game is, you know, it's pretty much a wrap as it is, and, you know, barring, you know, John Tyler, Plano East type insanity, Whitehouse has no reason to not go for it every single time they touch the ball from here on out.
Absolutely, and just strategy-wise, you do want to possess the ball more late in this one with your defense tired as they are.
Rolling out to his left, Chris Garcia in pursuit, hit and taken away. There's Red Finch. Finally got his hands on another ball, and Red's thinking the full length of the field. There he goes into the end zone for a Paris Wildcat pick 6 touchdown. That is simply incredible. Red, who came off the field a little bit earlier with a foot injury, ankle injury, whatever the case may be. They didn't put him back in on offense. Hadn't played much offense at all tonight. He intercepts this one from about the 20-yard line and takes it 80 yards to the house. And the quarterback, Adams, is going to have Garcia imprinted on his forehead with the shot that he took from Chris.
And, you know, Red Finch is going to come away from this game with an offensive and defensive touchdown.
Incredible.
And he's really cemented himself as one of the best players on this Wildcats team, as they look like they're rolling heading into district play.
He's cemented himself as one of the best players in Lamar County.
Absolutely.
48-14, Paris on top. We'll be right back here on Game Day.
Ready to rep your school and your wallet?
I'm here to open a student account and score that sweet school debit card.
With no monthly fees, mobile banking, and a debit card that shows your school pride, our student account is built for your game plan.
Get in the game. Open yours today.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
First Federal Community Bank, the only bank you'll ever need.
So in the first half, Red Finch has a 48-yard bomb touchdown from Tyler Heath here with about 7 minutes and 39 seconds left in the game. Adams, of course, trying to make something happen. You're down big. Second half has really gotten away from you, and you throw it. Red Finch steps in front of it and goes 80 yards the other way. And what a difference maker he is, man.
Absolutely. And, you know, JoJo Adams had to try it, you know, fourth down, rolling out of the pocket. But, yeah, Red Finch just has put on an absolute game tonight, in a game where he did exit injured at one point, comes right back and delivers the pick six.
Mitchell, ready to kick this one away. Kickoff tonight. Brought to you by Stephen Walker, Harris injury attorney. Appreciate Mr. Walker for everything that he does, including being a part of Paris Game Day.
You want to think about this late game situation if you're Whitehouse. It is garbage time, whatever, but you know, you want your offense to put together a decent drive and stay out on the field. That defense has been run ragged by Paris tonight, and you don't want guys getting hurt. The season goes on for many more weeks after this, so.
Yeah, you're seeing the guys that you're thinking about right now out there on the field for Whitehouse. Looks like that's, you know, one of my favorite players on this Paris Wildcat defensive line, Jackson Threadgill, coming up to make that stop. Sophomore, you know, getting put into the action. It was against Pittsburgh where I was like, man, this guy has it, you know, and he's a baby right now. Sophomore, you got to grow into it, but you know, he's a guy who's going to end up being a player for these Paris Wildcats. And Paris gets a completion, and, Whitehouse gets the completion.
Wildcats versus Wildcats this evening, you know, and kind of one of those teams logo-wise. I mean, you know, if you're familiar with the Kansas State Wildcats, might think in the area of copyright infringement.
Oh, they do this sort of thing all the time.
All the time, yeah. Everywhere.
Big hit at the line of scrimmage, and once again, Threadgill right there. And I mentioned that preseason game against Pittsburgh, scrimmage against Pittsburgh. They did a overtime simulation, if you will. And it was a fourth down. Pittsburgh's going to go for it and this whole thing. And a guy from Pittsburgh puts his foot in the ground. He's trying to make a cut, and here comes Threadgill, just crushes him. Gets up, pumps his fist, and you know, that's kind of the point where I thought, man, that's a young man who's come to play. Meanwhile, on the other end, Keontae Franklin made some nice plays last week, kind of a little bit of a coming out party for him against Van Alstyne. Steps up and gets a PBU there.
Here late in the game, we do see Austin Holmes check in at quarterback for Whitehouse. You know, and JoJo Adams had a good performance tonight, in all honesty. Just not complimentary football being played by Whitehouse, and find themselves in a rout.
Stepping back, throwing deep. He's got a man, and it's caught. And this one's going to go into the end zone. Touchdown, and that's Zion Alexander. And what I like about that is get to see the Paris Wildcat offense one more time, maybe. And it's interesting because you put the second unit in, and then they score. You're up big still.
Absolutely. How do you interpret it?
Yeah. You know, do you continue with the second unit on offense? The extra point is up and good. And is that the same kicker we saw in the first half that doinked it for Whitehouse?
I do not believe so. And
it can't be. We're going to step aside. We'll be right back here on Game Day.
At Moore Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paris, we can make your next vehicle purchase simple, stress-free, and built around you. Whether you're looking for a rugged Ram truck, an adventurous Jeep, or a quality pre-owned, we have the right vehicle for you at the right price. And with over 700 five-star reviews, our customers know that our friendly, knowledgeable staff is here for you. So come see us off the Loop in Paris, Texas, and for more details, visit moorecdjr.com. At Moore Chrysler.
And back here on Game Day, thank you to our presenting sponsors of Paris Game Day, Texas Furniture and Appliance and Red River Credit Union, RRCU. Had Cale Brashears with us at halftime, talk about some of the great things happening at Red River Credit Union. And, you know, all of our sponsors are who make it possible for Paris Game Day to be here. So you guys, you know, if you see them at the grocery store, at Kroger, Walmart, wherever the case may be sure that you let them know that you appreciate that they make Paris Game Day happen. Kickoff, it's going to be high and short, taken around the 25. This is Shelton sprinting to the right side, putting his foot in the ground, and he'll be taken out around the 45-yard line.
Special teams, Whitehouse kind of found out of their lanes. Let's pair us up with good field position.
Well, that's, you know, pretty much well representative of the first opening kickoff that Shelton took. Immediately starts running east and west trying to get to that corner. And now Paris will come out at the 45-yard line, And it will be Jamarius Shelton, the signal caller. And I know that Fabian Brown is out there wide top of your screen. Here's the snap, handoff, and Gio booking it across midfield to around the 38-yard line.
You know, Steven, what you got to love about the Paris Wildcats in this game is that, you know, you get a big, impressive win against a 5A school, but you feel like maybe you left a fair amount of meat on the bone on both sides of the football, you know, and especially on defense, you got to feel like there's still a lot of room for improvement, though you are going to come away from tonight with a big win.
Yeah, especially in that first half. There definitely was some meat left on the bone, like you said, as they are, you know, letting that clock run as they should. Here's the snap, handoff, cut to the left from Gio. And man, he is tough to bring down, goes to the 34. That'll be a tough gain of 5. And when I talk about how deep this Paris Wildcat receiving core is, I mean, in a tight ball game, you know, we saw Jeremiah Humphrey as a receiver out on the field. You know, a guy who's in that rotation here in garbage time, he's lining up. So they're like, look, our second guys can play with our first guys as far as the pass catchers go.
You got to feel good about the future of this program. with how deep you are in terms of weapons on offense.
This time Gio gets taken down after about a yard. Now last year we also saw Cam Floyd get a carry or two. And Gio, is that tandem with Jerron Baugh. Baugh is certainly the explosive guy. Gio is the big, powerful guy. And then down on the goal line, they'll give it to Boots Harper. So they go pretty deep at running back as well.
Got a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things.
Fabian Brown, the sophomore, is a guy who plays a ton on offense with the first crew. They'll put him back at the line of scrimmage, 4th and 5 coming up. And for Paris, they're going to leave the offense out there on the field. You're at the 34 of Whitehouse, 4th and 5. You want to see what this second unit can do. And make no mistake about it, Coach Hohenberger, he loves and is impressed with Jamarius Shelton, the backup quarterback. You just happen to have an absolute stud as the starter, but I've heard some of the things that he has to say about Shelton, and he is high on that young man. Paris is going to take a timeout after letting the clock run all the way down. And we will take a timeout with them. Second half timeouts brought to you by Glassland and Home. We'll be right back here on Game Day.
Sorry you're under the weather, Susie. Here are those loan docs.
Thanks, James. I'm so glad we didn't have to delay this closing.
Tissue?
Thanks.
Secure and safe loan closings, or take care of just about any banking task. Experience the credit union difference. Anytime, anywhere. With RRCU's digital banking. Do you RRCU?
And back here on Game Day is the Paris Wildcats facing 4th and 5, 2:51 to go in the ball game, and leading 48-21. So they'll have the offense out there, but it's really to just try to go kneel this thing out. Otherwise, you're going to have to go play more defense, and, the game's put away and all of that. So
absolutely,
might as well try to end it.
From a coach's perspective, there's still a little bit of important football to be played in this game. You've got guys out there that are going to be the future of this football program. See what they can do on 4th and 5.
So Shelton's going to pick it up easily.
Tackled by Jalen Anderson. Shelton picks up a Lone Trail Wildcat first down.
Down to about the 23-yard line as they now say run that clock. And for the Paris Wildcats, technically Whitehouse has 3 timeouts. There's the 2-minute timeout that has now been applied in high school football. And
as we see Whitehouse members of coaching staff packing up in the adjacent booth, we find the use of the timeouts doubtful.
And Gio pushes ahead for maybe a yard. And then we will hit that 2-minute timeout. 48-21. That's our score. We will step aside for the 2-minute timeout here on Game Day.
Josh Urette, project manager with 2B Builders. We're a local GC here in Texarkana. We have Lone Star out here doing our heating and AC. They do a good job for us. We really appreciate the customer service that they provide. I know that at Lone Star Heating and Air, I can always call Matt or Dave, their head commercial HVAC guy, and they will always pick up the phone when I need them. And that's a big thing when we're working out here on these commercial projects. Usually when we're in a bind, we need something and we need it pretty quickly, and we can rely on Lone Star for that.
The 45 reunion of the class of
And back on game day is Paris trying to wrap this thing up. 2 minutes remaining. Whitehouse technically 3 timeouts, but the game put away. And this has got to feel good because this game kind of was the other way around last year in Whitehouse. And, you know, Coach Hohenberger was saying, man, it was us. We didn't play well. You know, hats off to them, all of that. But it was us who didn't come to play, as this kind of end around doesn't go very far for the Paris Wildcats. But a touch on the football for Michael Cobb. Just getting other young men involved.
This is just, you know, heading into district play, just the kind of performance you wanted if you're Paris. You want that confidence. You want that kind of swagger about you heading into one of the toughest 4A districts in the entire state of Texas. Couldn't be happier with the performance tonight if you're the Wildcats.
Absolutely, and for Paris, you know, you talk about the district, you get started here at home against Lake Dallas, and then you go to the Star in Frisco. Panther Creek will be the second district game as Shelton pushes this one ahead, picking up about 5. Then you come back home to take on Aubrey. Then you go on the road to take on 8th-ranked Sulphur Springs. Come back home to take on number 1 Salina and finish out the season on the road against Nevada Community. So obviously Paris is playing well, but that Lake Dallas game on the road against Panther Creek and then Aubrey, that stretch is going to be vital and some great measuring sticks because I tell you, those guys in Hopkins County next door to us, they are about as confident as anyone in the state of Texas that they belong on the field with a Salina. And, of course, as Paris continues to go on, they feel like they are continuing to grow and hit their ceiling, their potential. As Paris is going to take the delay of game penalty here, which in turn gives them a 25-second clock, which in turn ends the ball game. So that'll do it. The Paris Wildcats on homecoming night from Wildcat Stadium, a winner 48-21 over Whitehouse. For Evan Brazil, Reed Preston, Jordan Wise, Ava Langley, Brittany Young, thank you guys so very much. That's our production crew, and Evan with the color commentary. I'm Stephen Johnston. You've been watching Paris Wildcat football.